Welcome back, folks. This is VAWA's Quarantine Conversations with Virginia College Coaches. We are so lucky today to have the leader of the Virginia Tech program, Coach Tony Robie. Tony, we're so glad we could have you today. How's it going? What's going on with all this crazy quarantine down there in Blacksburg?
Well, first off, thanks for having me, Brian. Always good to chat and catch up with you. It's obviously very strange and odd times for everybody right now. So as a wrestling coach, you're not used to having this much time on your hands. So it's been different, to say the least, as far as what my daily routine is, what the daily routine is of all of our athletes. When you're involved in the sport of wrestling or you're involved in college athletics, routine is a huge part of your day. And right now, I think that's one of the biggest things is a lot of guys are struggling to find their routine, and a lot of people are struggling to find their routine. So for me personally, the weather was really nice last week, which was great. I did a lot of outdoor yard work. I got my yard looking as good as it's looked in a long time. My grass still has a ways to go, but the lawn is looking good. Did a bunch of landscaping. I've been spending a lot of time with my kids, obviously my wife too, but more so with my kids. Yeah, I've got a 20-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 13-year-old, all boys. So very rarely do we have this much time where not only do I not have anything going on, they don't have anything going on. So they've been home, I've been home. I've got to spend a ton of quality time with them. Just doing things around the house, playing basketball in the backyard, playing ping pong. I've been able to spend some time with my high school son, Luke, and my younger son, Jake, who's in middle school, with their wrestling and drilling with them and helping them with their wrestling. So I've enjoyed that part of it. It's something that over the years, I haven't been able to do that a whole lot. I've probably spent more time with them from a wrestling standpoint in the last 3 weeks than I had in the last 3 years. So, just trying to take advantage of that, trying to take advantage of the family time, and just really trying to, develop some type of routine on a daily basis.
Awesome. And talking about routine, you kind of run the full gamut on the East Coast and even in the Big Ten on, running programs and pulling in different things from the different programs and creating cultures. In 2006, you came to Virginia Tech. Is that correct? As the assistant?
Yes.
With Coach Dresser. And then this is your third year as the head coach, just finishing that up. Talk to me quickly about, we talked about the home routines. How are you creating a culture and routines within the Virginia Tech program and getting that together for your program there in Blacksburg?
Right now we're doing some Zoom meetings. We're reaching out to guys individually, text, phone calls, just trying to keep up with them as much as possible, and trying to, help them along, see if they need anything, making sure that they're staying up to what they need to do academically. I mean, that's a big concern of mine right now because these guys have a ton of structure. Typically, they have study hall. Our academic advisor is meeting with them on a weekly, if not daily basis in some cases. And we're still doing a lot of that virtually, but there's a lot more freedom right now for our guys. And I think that that's something that they have to use wisely during this time, and they have to be disciplined, and all the things that help you become a great wrestler, I think, are going to be even magnified more now in this time when you don't have as much structure, you don't have as much oversight, you don't have somebody managing or micromanaging your day to day. So these guys are completely on their own. We've got a quote in our locker room. It says, "Your future depends on a lot of things, but mostly it depends on you." And I think that holds true now more than ever. So, that's kind of where we are with our guys and with our team. We've got a few guys that have stuck around here in Blacksburg. Most of them are at home, wherever that might be, up in typically somewhere on the East Coast. But as far as my journey is concerned, in kind of developing philosophically a system or an approach or a belief system for what it takes to be successful, it goes back a long ways. I mean, I went to Edinburgh. Out of high school, I wasn't a highly recruited guy. I didn't have a lot of, I was third in the state in Pennsylvania twice, which was decent, but it wasn't great. And ended up going to Edinburgh. It's about 20 minutes away. And for me, that was probably the biggest blessing that ever happened to me personally, as far as my wrestling career is concerned. Just for the fact that I was around some great people. Bruce Baumgartner was the head coach. Tim Flynn was the assistant coach. And Lou Roselli was the other assistant coach. And those guys really helped shape my my vision or my work ethic or my view on what it took to be successful in this sport. And, you know, I've been able to carry that through a lot of different coaching stops along the way. At Edinburgh, I was at West Virginia for a year. I was at the University of Michigan for 4 years. I was at Binghamton University for a year, and then for 14 seasons here at Virginia Tech. And along that path, you know, you get introduced and you meet other people that can help you develop your approach and your philosophy and what you think it takes to build a successful culture. So been fortunate that I've been exposed to a lot of really good people and a lot of really good conferences and a lot of really good programs, and have had them rub off on me.
Yeah, that coaching tree at Edinburgh, it continues to grow a lot of big branches. Even in Virginia now, we have a couple of former Scots who are head coaches and doing a great job. Just what Coach Baumgartner did and Coach Flynn did to build on your knowledge is amazing. So on that, talk to me a little bit about the strength of the university. Talk to me about Virginia Tech and why kids and why people are so drawn to the Blacksburg area.
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think the biggest thing is the sense of community here. And I think you probably understand this just being a resident of the state of Virginia. People that are affiliated with Virginia Tech or alums of Virginia Tech are somehow connected with this university, have a very strong passion, desire, and love for this school. And there's a sense of community here, unlike anything that I've ever experienced at any other school. And it goes far beyond athletics. It goes far beyond wrestling. It's about being a Hokie and the pride that comes along with that. And, you know, if you're driving around anywhere in the state of Virginia, whether it's on 81 or, you know, up in your area on 95, you see all kinds of VT magnets and stickers and Hokies, license plates all over the place. I mean, people just have a tremendous amount of pride. And I think that stems from their experience at Virginia Tech. I mean, it's just a fantastic place to go to school, to live. The people in this community are, you know, really unbelievable in terms of how they treat you and how they make you feel welcome. And I think most people that come to Virginia Tech have a similar experience where they leave this place 4 or 5 years later and they just feel like Virginia Tech was such a huge part of their lives that they take great pride in that. And I think that's a huge thing. And I think it's something that's very easy to feel and recognize when you come on campus, especially if you come on campus for a football weekend. Obviously, academics are fantastic here. But I think you get the really, you know, one thing that we sell is the whole college experience. You know, when you're an athlete or you're a wrestler, the three things that you're typically looking at are the wrestling program. Can I be successful? Can I accomplish my goals there? Do they have the people in place? Do they have the culture in place for me to win an NCAA title, multiple NCAA titles, World Olympic titles, whatever it is that you're trying to do at this level? Then academically, is it a good fit for me? When I leave this place with that degree in 4 or 5 years, how marketable am I going to be? How many opportunities am I going to have? And then the third part of it is just the whole college experience and being at this place, you know, experiencing football weekends, experiencing being a Hokie, being on this campus. We've got one of the nicest campuses in the country. People that come down here and they visit this place, quite often they just fall in love with it. And it's got that kind of appeal and that kind of effect on people. So it makes my job a little bit easier when it comes to recruiting, a heck of a lot easier than it, you know, would have been in a place like Edinburgh. So, you know, people love it. And I think that it's for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, you definitely don't get that lake effect coming off Lake Erie up there, do you?
No. People, it's funny. People complain about the weather, and I'm just like, I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and went to Edinburgh. Man, you have no idea. This ain't so bad.
Oh, that's awesome. And you talked about how it is a really recruitable area, and how people just love to be there, and people love to be alums there, and the quality of the education is amazing. We know that going in. So what are you looking for in a specific recruit when you are looking to recruit the next big thing, the next Hokie for your future?
Well, there's a lot of things that go into what's going to make a guy successful at this level, right? I mean, it's obviously talent is part of that equation. You've got to have success at the high school level. You have to be at a certain talent level to be able to compete at the highest level. But I will say this much, I think that's just one small part of the equation. We want guys ultimately that are willing to commit a huge portion of their life to accomplishing their goals. And that's inside the wrestling room, that's outside the wrestling room, it's in the way that they live, it's in the choices that they make, the decisions that they make, the people that they surround themselves with. Every decision that they make, or maybe not every decision, but the majority of the decisions that you make at this level, whether it be getting up to work out, or how hard you're going to push yourself, or how prepared you are for practice based on the amount of sleep that you got the night before, based on the nutrition that you put in your body, based on all of those things, those intangible things are critically important to the success at this level. And for me, when I go back and I look at, we've got a bunch of pictures here. I'm in my office of a lot of our All-Americans, and NCAA champion Mekhi Lewis, and guys like David McFadden, and guys have been tremendously successful for our program. And most of those guys have a lot of similar qualities, and talent is just one of them. But work ethic, commitment, desire, dedication, character, all of those things are critically important. And those intangible qualities aren't always the easiest thing to identify in the recruiting process. The talent is pretty easy. Wins and losses, you can look at rankings and figure that part of it out. But really getting to know the kids, getting to know their families on a personal level, I think is ultimately plays into the decision that we make, how hard we're going to recruit a kid, whether we want him in our program, how badly we want him in our program, and so on and so forth. So it's a lot of things that go into making up a successful wrestler at this level. And, you can't just put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
So when we're looking at that, as a high school coach, and we have youth coaches that are going to be watching this, what can we be doing better as a community in Virginia to support you, to support wrestling? Obviously, we want to see the sport grow. So what are a couple of pillars that we might be able to do that can create more success for you?
I think really, really important that you have for all college wrestling programs, having a big fan base is important, and having a lot of people show up at your matches is really, really important. I mean, we're consistently in the top 10 in attendance. We put as many as 5,000 people in Castle Coliseum. I mean, attendance-wise, we're drawing probably 3,000 people a match. So supporting them by just coming out and getting in the stands and watching wrestling, and just any opportunity that I think youth and high school programs can get their kids to college campuses, whether it be for a camp, whether it be for a match, whether it for people in the community. There's a lot of different ways of support. They can support your program financially. They can support you by showing up at matches. They can support you by coming to camps. They can support you by traveling to the ACC and NCAA tournament. All of those things, I think, when athletic directors look at programs, those create a lot of value to, how you're standing within the athletic department. So I think those are critically important things. And I also think it's a win-win. It's also a win for the kids and the coaches have opportunities to be around guys like Mekhi Lewis and Ty Walls and Jared Hott and Cody Brewer and guys that have had a tremendous amount of success at the highest level of folk style wrestling and beyond. So you got to take advantage of those opportunities. I know for me, when I was a kid, I never went to a college wrestling. I never went to a camp. I never went to a college wrestling match. So was never exposed to all the things and all the possibilities that were out there. So I think it's a win for the colleges. And I also think it's a win for the athletes and the coaches that can start to develop relationships with some of these college athletes and some of these college coaches.
And you've done an awesome job of recruiting the best kids in Virginia. I mean, you know, the majority of your lineup last year was made of people from the Commonwealth. And I just want to tell you, we appreciate that from the Virginia community. Talk quickly as we close up here. What are some things that you're really excited about moving forward here in the next several years?
I just feel great about the future of our program. This year, we didn't end things the way that we wanted to, and we had some pretty talented guys on the bench this year. But I feel great about the recruiting class that we have coming in. I feel great about the young guys in our program. You know, you talked about it earlier, the culture. The culture with the young guys in our program right now is really, really good. And I think if you look at what we have coming back on paper, you know, Hunter Bullen was the number 2 seed at the NCAA tournament. He's still got 2 years of competition left. Mekhi Lewis is a defending NCAA champion as a freshman, an outstanding wrestler. He's got 3 years left. We got a kid named Sam Latona, who's, I think, going to be fantastic at 125. And the list goes on and on. I think there's several other guys that are going to contribute at a high level for us. But I do feel like we spoke about earlier, not only are we bringing in incredibly talented and successful wrestlers that have track records of winning, but we're also bringing in kids that are here for the right reasons, and they want to get a great education. They want to be Hokies. They want to do what it takes to be successful, live the kind of life it takes to be successful, to win at the highest level. So for me, I'm looking 2, 3, 4 years down the road, and I think Virginia Tech has a chance to have some of the best teams that we've ever had. And that says a lot because we've had some really good teams over the course of the last 14 years at Virginia Tech. So a lot of exciting things going on with the program. And hopefully as many people that can come and be a part of that, we encourage you to come out and be a part of that and come to matches. And like I said earlier, support your college wrestling programs in this state. We're very fortunate that we've got a lot of programs that we need to make sure as a community that we get behind these places. And you can get behind them in a lot of different ways, but pick one of them, pick 2 of them, pick 2, 3 of them, and make sure that everybody's doing their part to make sure wrestling in this state stays strong, and we continue to create opportunities for our in-state wrestlers to go on and wrestle at the Division I level. And right now, there's a lot of opportunity for those kids.
Coach, again, I'm just so happy that we were able to connect today, and I love watching your program. I love seeing you with your own kids at VAWA events, and you are, in terms of Virginia Wrestling Association, one of the big advocates for what we do. And so again, I just want to thank you. You have anything else for us before we close it out?
No, I guess thanks for having me on. Love everything that you guys are doing at VAWA and the opportunities that you're creating and the culture that we're helping create here in Virginia. We need at Virginia Tech, if we're going to accomplish our goals, we need the state of Virginia to be really strong in the sport of wrestling. It's important that we get really good in-state kids, and we've been able to do that over the years. We've been able to develop some in-state kids. So let's continue down that path. But as much as anything, I just want to reach out and tell everybody we hope they're safe and that their families are safe in this time. It's obviously very strange and different, but if there's anything that we can do to help out here at Virginia Tech, don't hesitate to reach out.